Greetings, fellow scientists. My name is Jesse, and I'm a part of the Saskatchewan Science Center's Go Science Outreach team. Now, today, we're gonna shatter your expectations about solid matter. And to do that, we're gonna look at some movie magic. Now, before we get to our experiment, let's take a closer look at glass. Now, glass is a type of matter that we call solids. Solids are things like the floor, the walls, or tables. They don't allow other particles to travel through them so easily. Glass, however, is a special type of solid. You see, when a solid is formed, it can form in one of two different ways. The particles that make up that solid could form together where all those particles are very close together and in very orderly fashions. And when those particles arrange themselves in that fashion, they're called crystalline solids. Now, crystalline solids are often solids that you think about like metals, salts, or gemstones. These solids have a very fixed shape and are very firm. Crystalline solids also tend to have very high melting and boiling points because of that really tight structure. However, when some other solids are formed, their particles don't quite line up in that perfect geometric fashion. Their particles kind of line up in a really wonky fashion. These solids are called amorphous solids. And some quick examples of those amorphous solids would be things like plastic, wax, or glass. Now, amorphous solids are often very brittle, and they don't break into even pieces like a crystalline solid would. Now, when it comes to movies, real glass is not always the substance that they want to work with in their films. For example, if there was an action movie and you had an actor that had to dive through a window, it could shatter into a lot of different pieces, and those pieces could be very sharp and dangerous. So special effects artists use a different substance. This substance is called sugar glass or candy glass. Sugar glass is an amorphous solid that's formed by melting down sugar, water, corn syrup, and cream of tartar. This mixture, when it melts down and solidifies, becomes a very brittle solid that can be transparent like real glass, but is often way safer than real glass. Now, this process takes a little while to create, so let's fast forward through me boiling all those different ingredients together. After all of that boiling, we're going to pour the substance into these shallow pans and let them sit overnight. The result is this. There we go. So, this piece of candy glass right here is what we end up with. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to see how well this shatters. And to test that, I'm going to chop through it like a piece of wood. All right, let's see how well this goes. All right, 3, 2, 1. Woo! There we go, that was awesome. The candy glass is very brittle, so it broke into a whole bunch of different pieces. Now, sugar glass shards are much safer than actual glass shards, but sometimes they can still be quite sharp. So I'm going to get this mess cleaned up right away. Now, thank you for joining us for this mind-shattering experiment right here. If you want to check out some of our other experiments, you can go to the SaskScienceCenter.com website and click on the Real Science, Real Fun button. That'll bring you to a bunch of our other experiments that we have going on. Stay curious, fellow scientists. That was real good.
Hey, how you doing? Tommy Tungsten here for Elements R Us with another super special sale. Welcome to the world of tomorrow, my friends. And that world is made possible by silicon. You probably heard your techie friends mention this stuff before, and that's because silicon is an essential component in electronics and them computer processor thingies. A lot of folks don't know this, but the main source of silicon on Earth is sand. No fooling. I gotta warn you though, the stuff needs to be refined numerous times in order to become usable. which is why it's a great deal to get it from us. Now, the reason silicon is used to make these chips is that silicon is what is known as a semiconductor. I don't mean some guy in a fancy suit that directs trucks, neither. A semiconductor is a material that can change the way electricity moves. Now, we ain't hawking that silicone stuff. Silicone is a complex polymer chain composed of many molecules, which my producers have explained to me is that flexible rubbery stuff you see kitchen stuff made out of. Our silicon is a pure element, right out of the earth, and I can assure you we only offer the purest of elements, and that ain't no con. So come on down to Elements R Us and secure some silicon today. And when you get there, tell them Tommy sent you. Capiche?
Hello everyone, my name is Sally Science, and I love it when you send in your curious questions for us to explore together. And today, we have another great question from my friend Brixton that I'm sure is gonna steam up your thinking. Ha! Good one, Sally!
Sally Science. How was steam formed?
Thanks for sending in this excellent question, Brixton. Would you believe me if I told you that steam is actually water in disguise? It's true! Steam is actually water that is heated up, changing from a liquid to a gas called water vapor. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Before we talk about steam, we have to talk about my favorite teeny tiny guys that we can't see called, you guessed it, molecules! You see, molecules make up everything, and I mean everything, from the hair on your brother's head, to your shoes, to your toys, to your table, to your glass of water, and the air we breathe. Molecules make up everything. And depending on how excited those molecules become, determines how they behave, or how much energy they have, or what shape they take. When you pour water into a pot from the tap, the water molecules are all relaxed and fluid, and they're what scientists call in a liquid state of matter. Now, if we add some heat to those water molecules, they get really, really excited and move around a lot, kind of like when you've had too much cake. And they run around trying to escape and release that energy, and then something incredible happens. They change from a liquid state of matter to a gas state of matter called water vapor. And this process is called evaporation. Ha! Get it? Vapor, evaporation. Ha! Oh, Sally, you are killing it today. Most gases we can't see, but they are all around us. In fact, steam is something we can't really see at all until those heated water molecules escape and start to cool down just a little bit. Let me explain. Have you ever watched a pot of water boiling on the stove? With Mom and Dad's permission, of course. And when that water is at a certain temperature, what happens? That's right, a white cloud comes out of the pot. Ha. Now here's where it gets a little crazy. When the water in the pot boils, it turns into a gas. And when the gas leaves the pot, it starts to cool, becoming the white cloud of steam that you see. And scientists call this cooling process condensation. But friends, it is really, really important that you do not touch the steam, because even though it's cool enough to turn into steam, it is still really, really hot. Because steam is kind of like being hot and cooling down at the same time, steam has a lot of energy, and it is powerful stuff. Fun fact, steam has been used to power huge things like trains and boats, and probably even the heating in your school is all powered by steam. Steam is also used in TV shows and movies for spooky effects. I hope this answers your burning question, Brixton. Thanks so much for sending it in. If you have a question that you'd like to explore together, please send it my way. I would love to hear it. Take care of each other, friends. And this is Sally Science, signing off.